Population Action Plan. This supported for members on the Scottish Government's recently launched supporting the neighbouring sustainable action plan to address depopulation, which is known as the Lesbian Population Action Plan. Kathleen Morrison will speak to the report.
The Scottish Government published its Lesbian Population Action Plan, or the ADA, related to lay out a pathway to implement measures to reduce population decline in Scotland. Through collaborating with local and regional partners, and it also establishes their policy position on the issue. Whilst the ADA aims to balance Scotland's population, it does highlight that the Isle of Hebrides is only one of two Scottish local authorities that are forecast to have more people live here than move here by the end of 2028. And this is where the work of the population zoning and its working group is fundamental to reverse this decline, and the lessons learned can also be implemented throughout the islands. The launch of the ADAP is classed as phase 1, whilst phase 2 will include setting up the ADAP delivery group to evaluate the delivery of the actions. The government are already supporting the community settlement officers, of which we have one in Newest, and then this automatically means that COLA will be, as per what the plan says, COLA will automatically expect to be a member of the group. Paragraph 6.4 refers to the ADAP grant, which the COLA did submit an expression of interest to, and we're still awaiting the government's funding decisions on these, and we have had no updates on when that will be announced. As the ADAP is welcomed and shows a starting point for collaboration on the issues, it does lack both innovative thinking and suitable financial resources to delivery of all the actions. Therefore, the COLA and the officers will continue to collaborate nationally and locally to identify pathways and solutions to reduce depopulation and to take inhibition.
Thank you, Kathleen. Are there any members have any questions or observations on that report? We have made representation to the Scottish Government on this, so there should be some flexibility around how we go about this and use the resources we already have in terms of the used repopulation, so to apply that to this plan as well. So if there are no questions, oh sorry,
just one.
Mr. McKenna, sorry.
Yeah, just one question. It's clear you see that as we're looking at the demographics and repopulations, you're not going, you see that most areas on the west of a certain line are decreasing, and on the east of a certain line, Edinburgh and all the way up to Aberdeen, they are increasing, and that's the question. The west is hemorrhaging population compared to the east coast. And when we're making reference to the Scottish Government, I wonder the way the UK government, it's a third matter with immigration policy. Should we not be making sure that we're in touch with the UK government as well to make sure that we're in tune with Scottish government and UK government as we move forward, because that barrier has to be broken. And the Scottish government has introduced a proposed regional approach with visas previously for urban areas, and the uniqueness of the island situation, I think, merits further discussion at UK level as well.
That would be absolutely very appropriate. I think we should make a representation to the UK government to support on that. We could directly tie to levelling up and all that agenda. Gordon Murray.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask in terms of this depopulation paper, and thanks for this report. Have any communities or community councils used community place plans that give communities a chance to develop or their own areas as a way of sustaining their own communities for the future?
Kathleen, do you want to come back on that?
Well, we're working with youth to do that, but we've also, with the place-based initiative, place-based investment fund, and there has been plans done in both Eilean and Comhairle to visioning strategies. Other than that, I'd have to come back to you on that and speak to some colleagues.
Okay, thank you very much. It's just trying to come up with local solutions rather than the Scottish Government, but thanks.
The use of populations, so an action plan is a template we should continue to use for this going forward. Does anyone else want to come out and not note the report is for noting? No, it's for like, yeah, it's for noting. Which someone come in there? No, okay. Item 17 is the US3 population zone update. The report is for noting provides an update on the progress of the action plan and partnership. And again, Kathleen is here to speak to the report.
The Chair. As I said, this report does link to the previous ADAT report and shows how we are locally collaborating with partners to retain and attract people to stay and move to US. While also using the lessons learned here to be implemented elsewhere throughout the islands. We can see that in housing and different housing types. The working group jointly supports a wide range of actions to tackle issues in housing, childcare, infrastructure, connectivity, jobs and skills. And collaboratively, the groups seek to identify long and short-term measures and solutions to retain and repopulate the islands. Key to the plan's success is not only partnership working with the public and private sector, but it's imperative that we also work with communities. And the work and visibility of the youth settlement officer on the ground is fundamental to this also. Christina Morrison, the youth settlement officer, unfortunately she had to go for things this morning, and our colleague Kim McCready have been undertaking a lot of work in the island. And over the last 2 years, as per report, they have been supporting the development and delivery of the USBO websites and platforms, and I would encourage you all to visit that. And it provides an overview of life in US and if you were going to move here, and also other information if you were going to be working here as well. They also support the development of the local childcare provision, and there's a newly established US and Barra Childcare Forum meeting tomorrow to discuss the issues around this, because there is an issue, and that's if there isn't enough childcare, which there isn't in US, that then can't get some people back into work. It also supports in the local housing issues, and over the last 2 years it provided advice to Eilean 19 inquirers and supported 26 relocations to US to date. And they're also currently working with the growth training and multimedia unit to develop 5 films on the actions within the plan and to promote local skills in US and to attract people and young people to stay. Happy to take any questions.
You, Kathleen. Anyone have any questions? Dave?
We agree to note the report. And item 18 is the Lister Levy Scotland Bill update.
Sorry about that. Item 17 is item 18 is the Lister Levy Bill update. Report is for approval and updates members on the progress of the bill and seeks to establish a short life working group to oversee policy developments. And again, Kathleen has a hat-trick reports from speak to it.
Thank you, Chair. If introduced, the Visitor Levy Scotland Bill will allow local authorities to apply a levy on overnight visitor stays, where the income to be reinvested on local tourism and visitor related facilities, infrastructure and services in the island. Locally, this could generate, this is based on previous visitor numbers from 2022 and 2023, and this could generate in the region of around £1 million annually. So it's quite a significant number. The bill has currently reached stage 3 in Parliament, and where MSPs can propose final amendments before it's debated and decided upon. Should it pass a stage, now we put it forward for crowd consent. As of last week, I heard that this is still due to happen around late summertime, but the dates haven't been finalised. At last week's Highlands and Islands Regional Economic Partnership, Mr. Levy meeting. Can you hear me? Yeah. It was reconfirmed that all our local authorities want to continue ensure that we all collaborate together on the levy development and delivery, and then this includes back office systems and coordinating timeframes for consultation on launches. This is because when we are hearing other local authorities moving forward and in the press, then we are getting queries of why we're not either. So it has been agreed with Eilean or Gallagher's that we will coordinate all that from now on. Whilst this report is to provide members with an update on the levy, it's also to seek approval and to establish a short life working group for members and officers as the levy discussions are now starting to pick up pace. Happy to take any question.
Councillor Ronald Fraser. Fraser, you have your hand up. Any councillor McCauley?
Thanks, Chair, and thank you very much for the report. I note from the report that the person or the people provider of the accommodation is the one to be responsible in collecting the levy. Is there a way where we could maybe, and I'm thinking of motorhomes and coming over to the other ones, not all of them use registered sites, and this opportunity missed to collect the levy from as many of these motorhomes as possible. As it's only fair that the ones not staying on site should be laid off with it. The ones that are, it might even encourage people not to go to sites because they're not only going to say, but we don't want them not staying in sites anyway. But we know it happens. It's perhaps a way of doing it is maybe to somehow be able to collect this levy on the federal or from CalMac and add it on to their the amount of nights they're going to be staying based on their ferry tickets. Is that even a possibility? Is that something that could be looked at? Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Thanks, Councillor McCauley. We have proposed that a landing levy would be the simplest way to collect the levy in the islands, and Orkney and Shetland agree with that too. The proposal hasn't been taken up by the Scottish Government, it was raised again when the stage 2 was being debated before they closed on that, and the Cabinet Secretary had said that he was going to discuss that further. But we can't guarantee anything. The motorhome issue or the campers who don't move into a paid site is an ongoing discussion that it's going to be hard to square off really unless we have the landing levy option. But that issue has been raised quite a lot.
Thank you very much.
Councillor McCauley, thank you. Ronald, are you wanting in now?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm not a member of your committee. It's with reference to paragraph 6.4 in this report. It mentions that there is concern that as a levy includes the total accommodation price, it therefore would be liable for VAT, and it alludes this could have implications for businesses currently operating just beneath the £95,000 VAT threshold. Therefore, I wonder if I could ask Mrs. Morrison a couple of questions. Firstly, does the Comhairle know what percentage of Outer Hebrides tourism accommodation providers currently operate potentially below the said £95,000 threshold or are deemed as being smaller providers? And secondly, is the Scottish Government affording the Comhairle flexibility in forming our own bespoke policy in the spirit of island proofing?
Thank you. Thanks for the questions. The issue with the VAT threshold, I've been trying to get the numbers of how many businesses would below the threshold for quite a long time. Internally in the council, we don't have that information, and been speaking to Business Gateway about that as well as the FSB. Following a conversation yesterday with the Outer Hebrides Tourism, We're going to work with them to see what businesses they have registered as short under the threshold, and also with the imminent closure of the short-term Lex policy in June, then we'll be able to find out how many of those businesses will have to, that haven't registered for that, will have to change from the domestic to from the business to domestic. We can maybe use that information as well. So it is an ongoing discussion and an ongoing issue that we do want to figure out, because I have raised that the threshold will impact on the number of accommodation providers, because accommodation providers have said that if they do reach the threshold of their needing it, they will just close for the season. And that does mean that it shortens the season, which is what we don't want. So it is an issue. On your second question about flexibility, the Scottish Government has said that they want the levy to be as devolved as they can. There will be some things that they will set at a national, but they want to ensure that the flexible, the exemptions, the rate setting is going to be a local decision. So does that answer your question?
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes, indeed. Thank you both for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnold. Mr. Mackenzie, Ray Mackenzie.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to bring up the same sort of point that whichever way it's done, it's going to be difficult to collect the levy, and there's going to be hundreds of different whether it gets taxes and so forth throughout the islands. The fact that we are islands, it suddenly makes it easier. I would have thought. And I just wonder if it's possible to look at the access points. I mean, there are only a few access points into the islands, whether it be airports, ferries, and I wonder if it's possible. And of course, the tour ships are easy as far as that's concerned, because no doubt, I won't say a city does, but that it should be easy enough to collect on tour ships through the companies. But is there some way, and that maybe I'm being too simplistic, to control through the access points of the ferries, the airports, or whatever, and take all the businesses and everything out of the equation, so that they won't be involved in all the extra work that's going to have to be done.
Thanks, Mr. Mackenzie. I think if we were going to go down the landing levy route, then the simplest way would be working with CalMag and the airlines to collect it, rather than going through the businesses. But that would be only if it was going to be collected at the points of entry. Otherwise, we're a bit stuck. That would have to be at the listed accommodation that would be having to collect it. On your own point of the cruise ships, there is a separate discussion going on about the cruise ship levy, and the ministers have said that they wouldn't hold the visitor levy portion back just if the cruise ship levy discussions haven't concluded. That would just be ruled out later.
Yes, thanks very much, sir. The recommendation 3.1 there for your agreement. Item 9, agreements with Scotland and Gaelic tourism. The update. Focus from the opening of dates, members should be available for the list of Scotland and the North of Gaelic tourism strategy. Again.
The report provides members with an update on the various changes so that wherein this is Scotland's delivering a new strategy, such COLA been involved in. The Gaelic tourism strategy is to develop the Gaelic experiences throughout Scotland and ensure the importance of the Gaelic language, culture and heritage are all supported and promoted where appropriate, and not just as an add-on. Some of the actions, just to note, some of the actions within the strategy are related directly to the COLA's Gaelic plan, and works with Skip and the Gaelic on that. The motorhome, camper van and camping trips research was to identify the needs of this market, because there has been an issue with the various wild camping that's been happening, especially since the pandemic, and try to find solutions on that. And that's whilst research is finished, the work still ongoing. The report also highlights the recently published changes within Visit Scotland's structure, including the closure of the visitor centres, which includes Stornoway, and also the cessation of the quality assurance schemes, which includes the star rating, in favour of the digital first service. Unless the staff leave their posts earlier than anticipated, then the Stornoway Centre is due to close in phase 2, which is about 25-26. Locally, with our partners in the Tourism Leadership Group, we're going to look at what our options are and the demand for the service in Stornoway and how that can be, and we can report back to committee on that. We're also meeting with Rob Dixon from Visit Scotland tomorrow, as he's in Stornoway, and to discuss the Visit Scotland and also the levy.
Did we have a statement on disappointment at the closure of the local office, and hopefully there'll be a solution to that in partnership with the Port Authority, perhaps, and other partners, and maintain some sort of information centre. Any questions from members? Online? Okay, you're asked to agree to note the report. You. I think we got reports. 4 second reports there. Item 20 is an national good food plan. National good food national plan classification. Reports for reports for approval of quota. Approval of quota's response to consultation, and what are mechanics available to speak to the report. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Chair. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This report sets out a proposed consultation to a food growing strategy, Good Food Nation, and the Chief Executive of Nourish Scotland held 2 workshops in the Western Isles. One was in Daliborough and the other one was in Stornoway. And council officers attended both meetings, and our proposed responses are at 8.1 to 8.5. And you'll also see in the conclusion that we're proposing to say that Comhairle will support any initiatives that would support and underpin the traditional sector in the islands. I'd also like to add that's not included in this report that the actual consultation closed yesterday, but I have had an email confirming since writing the report that they accept our submission next week. And happy to take any questions members may have.
Keep safe in that snow and Muscat Time Road.
Yeah.
Recommendation 3.1, 4 summons coming in from the chamber. Councillor Gordon,
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Chair. Just wondering, have there been any contributions from the crofting sector to this, and any discussions that the Comhairle have had as major food producers on the island?
No specific, sorry.
Carry on, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. No specific engagement with the SCF regarding this, although I believe some of the crofting interests were in person at the workshops. And I know of one of the comments about the delay in the actual agricultural bill, and knowing what the support will be for crofters was one of the main issues that was raised at one of the mainland events as well. So I know the crofting interests have engaged separately, although not via ourselves for this consultation response.
Okay, thank you. So recommendations at 3.1. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, my laptop has decided to do a restart, so I don't have the report in front of me right now, but just along the lines of the last point that was made, excuse me, I note that the Scottish Crofting Federation released a statement today saying it was extremely disappointed about the Scottish Government's Good Food Nation plan, and that it was neither a plan nor about food, let alone good food. So obviously there are lots of concerns being raised from the crofting sector with this, and yeah, I would hope that when my laptop opens up again, that I'll be satisfied again with everything. But that statement has just come out in the last half hour or so. So the crofting sector has been consulted as well, but obviously not totally satisfied with it.
And has there been discussions between, as a national forum, crofting forum? You know.
I'm just trying to remember if it was raised at the last cross-party. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. If it was, there wasn't anything really of note that stood out to me. I can't remember just now, but yeah,
that would be a good forum for it to be debated.
Yeah, I think the next crofting cross-party, it's going to be a hybrid one. The rest of them have been remote. But the next one is going to be a hybrid one with some of us in person on the 15th of May. So might be a better forum for discussing these things there.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Otherwise, recommendation for 3.1. Item 21 is the still on the Irish Growth Table Feed and Break Programme update. Report is for noting updates members the progress without evidence from the state program owners of the island's growth given, specifically with regard to developments, Akershus and Battersea Harbour. Donald is here to fix the report.
Thank you, Chair. Just briefly, an update on the Outer Hebrides Food and Drink Programme. Quite timely, I think, given your meetings are in Euston Barra this week, that the first two projects in the programme at Akershus Harbour and Erskine are starting. Contractors on site last week. The project's expected to conclude by the end of June, and hopefully Battersea under the pier and harbour improvements plank of that programme will be ready to start soon as well. So the report just gives a background to the programme and the three main planks, which are pier and harbour improvements, a range of food hubs, and also capital expenditure for processing capacity and capability. I've also attached a financial forecast appended to the report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Chair. It was just to ask when you think the food hubs need to be looking to be started. So is there any timescale for that?
The used food hub is profiled for earlier in the programme, with the Harris food hub and the two Lewis hubs later. But due to slippage, cost escalation and lack of much funding, we're looking to accelerate the food hubs that were profiled later in the programme earlier if the projects are there to support them. So we've started trying to identify projects that fit with food hubs in Harris and Lewis currently.
Okay, thanks. Councillor McLean.
Thanks, Chair. I'm not a member of your committee. Can I come in here because it's got relevance to the question that was asked by Councillor Gordon Murray, and that's to do with the influence or the participation of the crofting role in good food nation outcomes. And you've just mentioned there that you're trying to identify projects. It's good to see the Akershus Harbour project going, and that will hopefully influence food in the US and possibly further north. But could I put in as case, and I've mentioned this at the seminar, for the Stornoway Abattoir. Stornoway Abattoir is absolutely essential to good food and in the north of Lewis, and possibly as well even in the US. Could I ask for that to be considered as a redevelopment or an improvement of Stornoway Abattoir under the Islands Growth Deal, the Outer Hebrides? Would it be possible for that to be included? because I look at it every day I pass there, and it's falling into rack and ruin. And the more we leave that, the worse it becomes. And I feel that it's essential, particularly in the crofting community, that this is attended to very, very soon. Otherwise, we're left with none.
Thank you. My answer is I don't know whether that would be an eligible project under the Islands Growth Deal, but we'll certainly look into that, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah. What question are you putting to? You don't know. How are you?
Whether a redevelopment of Stornoway Abattoir would be eligible. It's an eligibility issue, yes.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, I hope to goodness you can change that eligibility content in some way or other, because it is absolutely, any crofter here will tell you that.
I'm going to take Eilean, Kieran, and
Thank you, Chair. As Noel has said, we're looking at some of the different projects within the food and drink programme. I think going forward, we're going to have to rescope the programme a wee bit, just because of some of the things that Noel has mentioned around cost escalation, etc. So one of the things I think we would want to do is consult with the crofting community to fully understand what their goals and ambitions are going forward. I'm happy to explore around Stornoway Abattoir, but also abattoirs throughout the Outer Hebrides in regard to what we can do. So it may be easier to develop a programme of abattoir infrastructure development rather than to look at one abattoir in isolation. So we will explore that over the rescoping period. But as Don said, there may be criteria issues around that. As everyone knows, under subsidy control regime, giving subsidy to elements of the agricultural sector can be very challenging, but we will explore that in the next stage of the rescoping.
Thank you. Recommendations, and at 3.1 there for your agreement to report, to agree to note to report. Thank you. Item 22 is business utility grant scheme. The report is for approval. Consider £200,000 from the revolving loan fund in order to create and fund a proposed Outer Hebrides business development scheme. Initially, as a replacement for the COVID-19 economic recovery grant scheme. And Norman is here to speak to the report. Thank you, Norman.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, as you say, we're looking to transfer £200,000 from the revolving loan fund to develop a new 3-year scheme just to replace our existing SERG scheme. So nothing really much to add to the report, but happy to take any questions.
And this will be building on success of that previous scheme that during the COVID was well used. Any questions on this item? And we can continue recommendations 3.1. Item 23 is the Scottish Local Authorities Economic Development Indicators Framework Report 2022-23. Report is promoting and updates members on the following publication of the Local Authorities Economic Development Indicators Framework. And no one then is here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chair. It's an annual return. We've been collating this data for over 10 years now, I think. A range of economic indicators, some of which we collate ourselves at the Comhairle, the bulk of which are collated from national statistics. I've appended the Comhairle's return for 22-23. I'm sure we'll be asked to start collating data for 23-24 very soon, and I've pulled out a few of the indicators, 5 or 6, where the trend is that the area is doing reasonably well. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from members? If not, we're agreeing to note the report. Item 24 will be taken in private at the end of the meeting, and we will move to item 25, reports outstanding, and that's for noting. We'll now conclude the meeting and move to private. Consider item 24. Well, officers and members of the committee should remain